Hello, I'm Alessandro Schiassi, solo dev behind Overjump Rally, and you're listening to the SEGA Lounge.
Welcome to the SEGA Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things SEGA, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for SEGA. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 180 of the SEGA Lounge podcast. It's been a busy week for me on both the personal and professional side of things, but I'm glad to be on the lounge for yet another exciting episode. This is one for all my arcade and racing fans out there. Let's get to it. This week's guest is Alessandro Schiassi, developer of Overjump Rally, an ambitious project to remake the original SEGA Rally Championship game in Unreal Engine 5. Alessandro is an Italian SEGA fan with a lot of stories to tell and a passion for game development. Keep listening to find out more about what may very well turn out to be the future of the SEGA Rally series. This is a somewhat lengthier episode than usual, but I'm sure you'll appreciate getting to know this massive SEGA fan and his project. Hello, Alessandro. Welcome to the SEGA Lounge.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much. Pleasure to have you here. Thank you for doing this.
Of course, yeah, my pleasure. I've been following you for a while.
Judging by your accent, maybe in your name, people are probably, I think people have figured out you're hailing from California right now, living in California,
Yes.
as we've discussed,
I
but
am.
you're originally from Italy. So
Yes.
before we get
Born,
into Overjump Rally, which is the main reason we're talking today, but before we get into that, would you like to tell us a little bit more about how it was, how you got into gaming growing up, and how
yeah.
you discovered your favorite games and whatnot?
Yeah, so I'm from 1995. So when I was about 6, 7, it was the years that Sega was really cranking up. Oh, my first console was Master System
Mhm.
2 Plus. So I had Alex Kidd in Miracle World inside the console. And
Mhm.
we also got like Light Phaser, the light
Yes.
gun. Actually, my
Mhm.
dad only played with the light gun. He only played Rescue Mission. It was his only title he played. But also, I have a brother, a year and a half older. And while now couch gaming is not a thing anymore, sadly, back in the days, having like somebody around your age to play with was huge for a gamer. It really changed the entire experience. So I'm really grateful for that. One of the perks of having a brother, one of the few perks.
So was it an older brother, younger brother?
Yes, like but just a year and a half.
But older,
So
older.
yeah, older. Yeah.
So that meant you were player two.
Yes,
Sadly,
usually I was the tails. Yeah.
yeah. You got
Yes,
hit by
yes.
everything.
Yeah. But so Master System was my not say first approach to video games because I tried like Amiga to a
Hmm.
neighbor's house with Ricky Dangerous and Prince of Persia.
Okay.
But yeah, then we bought a Master System. Sonic was on the television ads, so it was
Hmm.
pretty popular character in Italy at least. Well, around the world, but in Italy especially.
Hmm.
So yeah, we were like, okay, Sega is our religion at this point. It's we were like Team Sega, Team Blue. We knew about Nintendo. I remember playing Duck Hunt. But, again, when I was a kid, some friends' house. But when there was a friend with the Mega Drive and Sonic, that was the game to have.
Hmm.
I Sadly, we actually skipped the Genesis Mega Drive. Uh, we got really into gaming later. Like we were buying games, but it was like a real passion. Then we start buying like magazines, and at the
Hmm.
time was the only source to learn, what's new, what's good, the opinion in general. They were like publishing mails. So it was really like hardcore, where you have to follow a specific magazine to go along with all the news.
Hmm.
In our case, was Mega Console,
Okay.
which was my favorite. There were several, to be honest, but that one was it was the right amount of fun and like professionalism. Because sometimes some others were like too much jokes, and like at the end you don't understand. Okay, is this a good game, or just having fun with your colleagues, and for some reasons you recommend it.
Hmm.
So yeah, we start like buying Mega Console, which is again Mega Drive Center,
So was that, yeah,
and
that was the Sega specific
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we were actually planning to buy the Neptune, which it was like something between the Mega Drive and the Saturn. So there were like rumors about this console that eventually never came. So eventually we bought Sega Saturn, and that's where the passion started. Like deep into it. It was like obsessed. Yeah, I remember the time I was like reading manga, watching anime, and playing video games. So it was like Japan was like this place from all the good
Yeah.
things are coming from.
Like
Still also
the Dragon
movies
Ball
and.
days as well,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I remember I
Yeah,
was reading
yeah.
Dragon Ball when I was 8 or 9, like a manga. And at the time there
Hmm.
were no censorship, and you had to read it from the back, from the right to left, because in
Hmm.
Italy they didn't flip them. Though that was great.
Okay.
So basically you have to learn how to read in reverse, so you already gave you a edge. It was kind of like, oh, this is cool because it's different. You kind of wanted to feel like every other kids. And I remember
Mm.
bringing Dragon Ball at school and showing to my friends, hey, look, like, oh, there's Bulma, she's nude. So that was already like giving you an idea of how Japanese culture was different. And I have also to say that as an Italian kid, we grew up watching anime on local TV.
Hmm.
Uh, Captain Tsubasa, Sailor Moon, Samurai Troopers, Senseiya,
Yeah.
uh, all of these classics, they were like on the afternoon cartoons. So we don't
Exactly.
have didn't have Nickelodeon, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's same in
It's the
Portugal,
same. It's the same.
France.
The
Yeah.
only difference, perhaps, some of them were not. I think you probably got everything dubbed in Italian, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. All the movies. Yeah.
yeah. At some point, we started having things dubbed in Portuguese, but when I was really, really young, everything had subtitles in Portuguese.
Yep.
So I had like the original. Some of them we had the original Japanese voices,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Which
then
is cool.
which is
That's how. Yeah.
nice. Yeah, but
Uh,
then at some point, I think I remember Dragon Ball being dubbed in Portuguese with a very interesting
yeah. No.
dubbing, actually.
Yeah. Honestly,
And
like I wasn't a big fan of anime translation. They also
yeah,
changed the names. They changed the
hmm,
jokes. Censorship all over.
yeah,
So I really like. Okay, I'm gonna either watch legit, like Neon Genesis Evangelion. That was
hmm,
the biggest one. We became such a huge fans, my brother and I, along with again all the gaming. I
hmm.
even bought the Evangelion game for Saturn.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was pretty bad. But that's another story.
But maybe you
Uh,
enjoyed it, right? Because you enjoyed games and the anime, or no?
Yeah,
No,
no,
not
no.
really. No. Okay.
Plus, it was in Japanese, so honestly, I couldn't
Yeah.
understand what was happening. Yeah.
Yeah. When we were kids, right, we were not really, I mean, we could tell when a game or something was bad or not, but maybe we didn't have as much access to things as we do now. So if you
Yeah,
got a
again,
game,
gaming.
it was the game you had, and so you had to play it and
Yeah,
you enjoyed it somehow, right?
yeah, and again, magazines. They were like a cult moment where you learn everything you know. I remember reading back to back, front to back, uh, all the like every month. I remember going to
Mhm.
the newspaper stand just to buy that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we got a Saturn. It was kind of late at that point. It was like 97.
Mhm.
So yeah, so we had some nice backlog of games to play. The first one was actually Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 because we were
Okay.
such a fans of the second one. We used to go to the arcade and play Mortal Kombat 2. And then we got Virtua Cop with the uh, light gun. Again, the idea was to have our father playing with us so he would buy more games. It was like a bribing, but for him it was like, oh no, it's too complex. It's like 3D graphics were too much to handle.
Okay.
So we're kind of disappointed, but say, you know what, this is fun. Like again, we had a virtual gun, and I was alternating. I wasn't always the second player with the D-pad. Virtual Cop, you were able to
Yeah.
move the pad around. But eventually, yeah, we both also like a month after nights with the 3D controller. So
Mhm.
we had two pad, and then Sega Rally. That's where the versus started, like couch versus mode. And
Mhm.
Sega Rally is gonna be key to this point for overjump. So those were like really great memories I had. My brother was better than me, and it still is. I went back to Italy in October, and we played the PC version, which is like the Sega Saturn version, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was still like owning me. I had a problem because honestly, on the Forest, I was having the muscle memory from my game, which is slightly different. So I was like going really bad on the Forest Go track, but except for that, yeah, usually he's a better driver. Uh,
In real life as well, by the way?
no, he doesn't drive. He doesn't know how to
Oh,
drive. He
okay,
doesn't.
okay, okay,
So,
okay.
but honestly, I barely drive myself. Actually, I sold my car a few years ago. Which honestly, this is really weird because I'm not even a big fan of driving games.
Hmm.
And we'll get there why I picked a Sega
Yeah.
Rally to
Uh-huh.
be remade. But yeah, so the Saturn era, actually, fun thing. I During elementary school, I had a Master System. In middle school, I have a Saturn, and then in high school, I had a Dreamcast. So I was
Okay.
like moving up. So it was,
Hmm.
also a different circle of friends every time you were inviting over. I remember I had two other classmates. I convinced them to buy a Saturn, so we were actually swapping games. And
Oh.
there were only one with a PlayStation. Then there was a guy and two with a PC. One was really hardcore PC gamer, but he was coming to our place to play Virtual On and other
Okay.
Saturn games. So like, you see, you say the PC is better, but then you always here playing our games. Oh, how
Awesome.
can you say no to Sega charm? Um,
Yeah, and
so yeah,
in Europe especially, I feel like the Sega charm really was strong with people, and
yeah,
people were like
yeah. In
really, really
UK,
popular.
I noticed UK it's still like a huge stronghold for Sega lovers. Actually, speaking of which, we went to London. I think it was '98. So we just got a. I think no, it was maybe summer '97. We just got a Saturn, and we were in Piccadilly Circus, and we found the Sega World. So we were just walking around, and we saw like this giant Sonic statue. Like, Sega, my brother and I were like, we are flipping out. So we told our parents, we need to go here. It's like, the mecca for us. So yeah, we convinced them, and it was amazing. It was like top floor Saturns you can play freely, and then every floor was a different genre. So we're like racing games, fighting games, shoot 'em up, then rhythm games,
Hmm.
and it's amazing. I have a picture of
That's
myself
amazing.
on
That's
a
awesome.
Max TT bike.
Oh,
Yeah, I was there.
excellent.
Yeah, and at the time, taking pictures, it was like film cameras. But since we were like around, we maybe have a yeah, I have a other. Oh, no, I don't remember. I don't think we took a picture of the Sonic statue, but yeah, it was amazing.
Hmm.
So that was really like reinforcing our passion. It's like, okay, there is an entire building just around the Sega. This is great. We were so hyped. Um, and another game really got our attention was Panzer Dragoons Y.
Yeah.
So we first played a demo of the forest stage, and then it was already mind blowing. I mean, everything about it. It was absolutely great. So we bought the full game, and pure love. Really, honestly, I think Panzer Dragoon is what if it's not the favorite IP from Sega, it's close to it.
Okay.
Maybe the
I was going
second
to ask
after.
you that question. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Hmm.
think it's Shenmue and Panzer Dragoon. I mean, there are many because honestly, like the another thing I really loved about Sega is how diverse
Yeah.
the style and the genre. Honestly, I think Sega is the most complete software house ever. If you think about arcade hardware, software, consoles, and every kind of genre you can think of, including all the new technology they released, the new, for example, the Dreamcast was the first console with a modem included,
Hmm.
or even like new genre of games. Like they were experimenting a lot. There were new graphics
Always had their
techniques.
ahead of their time. I
Yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah.
right.
They never felt like, okay, now we got to this point. Let's just keep cranking. They even probably create even too many IPs at this point. They were like, okay, instead of keep. I mean, they did sequels of stuff that really went well, but then there was, Virtua Fighter and Fighting Vipers.
Hmm.
There was Sega Rally, Daytona, Sega Touring Car, Max TT. They were trying, right, really like, okay, this is a concept that keep doing. I
Yeah.
mean, they could have reused some of the stuff instead of creating new, but at the same time, technology was advancing so fast. So,
Hmm.
for example, yeah, they didn't do a Sega Rally 2 on the Saturn because by the time they finished for the arcade, it was the time for the Dreamcast. So yeah, so we had the Saturn. We were like playing all the kind of genre. We got Street Fighter Alpha 2, loved it to the and again Virtual On. It's probably one of my favorite as well. We played so much, especially two-player mode. Those were pretty balanced. While in Sega Rally, my brother was clearly the champion. Virtual On, maybe I was a bit better. I was
Okay.
using Viper 2 most of the time. Then what else we had? Like we had honestly like more than 20 titles. We were buying
Okay.
like one title per month.
And they were
And plus
cheaper,
we were
perhaps as well, right? Because you
not
got
really.
into
No,
the no,
no.
no,
I
because you
checked. I
got the
found like
Saturn later on. So I thought,
yeah, but still, like
oh,
we picked up pretty quickly, and the
okay.
games, even if they were a bit older, they didn't like lose value.
Hmm.
So actually, I remember I checked. We used to write down everything we were buying, like the price. I found actually I even posted on my on the Twitter account, and basically I realized the games were more expensive back then. It was like 100,000 liras, which if you use inflation is like $70
Okay.
a new
Yeah.
one. And there were more expensive one like Panzer Dragoon Saga, which I own the PAL version, which is now it's yeah, I still own it, and
Extremely
I'm not gonna
rare.
sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sell it because that's my favorite game on the Sega Saturn,
Hmm.
hands down. But yeah, honestly, games at the time, you could buy them used ones. Again, I had friends with the Saturn, so we were like sharing. We were
Yeah.
actually telling them what to buy, so we don't have to. Uh, but yeah, we try a bit everything, like
Mm.
Tomb Raider, Resident Evil. Again, the various Panzer Dragoon. We didn't buy Daytona, Virtua Fighter 2, Virtua Cop, Virtual On, Knights, uh, Worldwide Soccer
Yeah.
97. As an
Hmm.
Italian, I'm not even too much into soccer, but when the friends were playing, coming over,
Yeah.
we got also Duke Nukem 3D, which is a
Hmm.
great port, but even more fun was the mini game inside called Dead Tank. It's a multiplayer, like 2D game. It's like super flat, super simple graphics. You have like these yellow mountains. I have small tanks. You will basically change the orientation. I will shoot them, kind of like a Bang Bang or Worms.
Okay.
But instead of Worms, where it was like turn based, it was real time for everyone.
Okay. Okay.
We actually
Okay.
end up buying a multi tap and we bought more controllers. At one point, we end up having like 7 controllers. A few were actually gifted. There was this guy, friend of a friend, who say, "Oh, actually, we use Saturn for rendering stuff, so we don't use controller. Do you want one?" So yeah, so
Okay.
this guy gave us 2 controllers like out of nowhere. I was like, oh. So eventually, yeah, we bought it, and we were inviting friends. We were going to gatherings from people from forums and say, "Hey guys, you should check this," and that became the most
Just
played game.
the Duke Nukem mini game.
The mini game, yeah, that thing. It was made by Lobotomy, which was this team who was
Hmm.
converting I did software stuff. Like, so they did Duke Nukem, they did Quake, and they also
Hmm.
did Exhumed. You were able actually to unlock this mini game either by breaking all the toilets inside the Duke Nukem, which we did, or if you had the saves from Exhumed as well
Oh,
into your memory. So no, okay, you have both. And again, Death Tank still probably the best multiplayer for like more than 4 people. It was pure
excellent.
chaos because then you would buy weapons. You were like throwing nukes. There was like airstrikes. It was so simple, so easy to start playing, and by then it was all skills and luck.
Hmm.
You were like start like alliances with others, but then they will betray you. And then if you kill the one on top, the chart, it was like more points. So it's like a really well balanced,
Chaos.
honestly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, I found an emulated version that it's like standalone. I wanted to include it into Overjump, but let's see. No, because seriously, like they did a sequel for Xbox Live,
Mm.
but it was 3D. It kind of lost all its charm,
Yeah, the charm.
Yeah, but yeah, that thing. Like, if you're looking for a multiplayer for maybe like expos, I see people like retro expos. That's the game you should have. Like, it's
Okay.
legit. I would play for hours. So anyway,
Okay.
yeah, Saturn,
Excellent.
great. Yeah,
Okay. So
was
moving
great.
on to
Was
the
diverse.
Dreamcast. You
Yeah,
mentioned
and the Dreamcast was
Shenmue
yeah.
before, so I'm a big huge Shenmue fan.
Oh yeah.
What was it
So
about Shenmue that caught your eye?
dude, it wasn't a game. It was an experience. It was truly like something that uh, you just don't play. You live it.
Hmm.
It's something. It was showing us the future. To say,
Hmm.
hey, you remember when in movies they were talking about virtual realities, 3D worlds. Yeah. Plus, again, I had such a deep love for everything in Japan.
Yeah.
So for them to pick a small city in Japan, unknown, because honestly most people didn't know about Yokosuka before Shenmue.
Hmm.
It's not like an American movie picking New York, LA, even just using Tokyo. Okay, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka.
Yeah. People had heard of those names before, at
Yeah,
least.
but for such a blockbuster, using such a niche town, uh, that was already like, okay, you are clearly trying to do something different, even with this setup. But then we really go ahead and create these astonishingly well made and photorealistic at the time. I remember playing the intro and see the close up of Landy eyes. My brother was like, "Oh my god, what is happening? Those are real eyes." And the hand, hands used to be a cube, really like a
Yeah.
polygon. Lara Croft had, cubes for hands. Maybe in Virtua Fighter, were like, a bit
Yeah, they would
bugs.
open, but you couldn't like
Yeah,
distinguish the fingers. They
yeah,
would just
barely.
have,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, Shenmue.
Yeah,
It was
the
like,
facial expression.
yeah,
There was a whole thing about the free
yeah, because I can.
engine, and like
We
the full reactive eyes entertainment thing,
Yeah,
like a new genre. If you add to the fourth disc was
mhm,
the like the bonus disc that had like
yeah,
characters explaining the game
yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot.
The
And
passport, yes.
yeah, the passport, yeah, exactly. And they would like zoom in on the eyes and the mouths and
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
those tiny details. That was amazing for me at
No,
the time.
it's because honestly, we already had amazing graphics. For example, Soul Calibur. It was like just even watching the kata with each fighter, like doing all the moves with the camera movements, and those were impressive. But Shenmue wasn't just nice spectacle. The ability of going around,
Hmm.
opening drawers, exploring the city, talking to people, and everyone was having like uh, was dubbed. So it really,
They
bring,
had their own lives, like
yeah,
their
yeah,
own
uh,
schedules. You knew
yeah.
they were
The
going to work,
weather
coming
was
back
changing.
home. The weather
Yeah,
was
I remember
like
going
the
back
real
to
life
school.
weather at the time as well.
Yeah, I remember going to school like every day after playing Shenmue, and I was telling my friends what happened. Like, oh, and then I start with this bar fight, and it felt like I was leaving it, and then the day after I was going back to Italy. It really felt time travel and teleportation because and there is such a slow burn, but then when you start to get into the action with the QTE,
Hmm.
it really at that point you really are immersed. So if
Yeah.
they had a QTE just after 5 minutes, I don't think it would be as powerful, in terms of.
Mm.
Uh, I feel this like. Yeah, I care about what this character is thinking, is doing. If it's suffering, I kind of suffer myself. If it's happy,
Hmm.
there's I may be happy too.
Yeah.
And then yeah, overall, what they did, I was actually exploring the ripped model inside Blender. It's a
Hmm.
3D software,
Yeah.
so I was actually able to rotate, go into details, and now that I know about a bit about game development, you will really like appreciate even more what they did back in the days. The amount of details, even just as a texture, they clearly
Mhm.
they went up and took those uh, references. I was also going to Yokosuka in Google Earth, and I
Yeah.
recognized a logo on a window, like this red logo, and it was also present into the game.
Oh,
So
that's
basically,
amazing.
I tried to do like the reverse, and then I was like, okay, this is the structure, where they have lunch underneath, and I
Hmm.
found it. I found the picture, the reference. I like googling the name in Japanese to find even more pictures. So honestly, I'm really uh, say an expert about like how they uh,
How they did
took
it?
reality and
Yeah.
turned into a game.
Which
Uh,
considering the times and also the limitations when
oh,
compared to what people can do today, right? Technology
yeah, yeah.
can
Now,
do.
if I want the weather to change, there is a plugin for Unreal Engine 5.
Okay.
You got rain, you got snow, sunny, sunset. But back then, they simply had to write everything, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
everything from
So
scratch.
that's even more
Yeah,
amazing and mind
yeah.
blowing.
Honestly, the more you learn about coding, even art, the fact that every building feels like a real building,
Hmm.
it doesn't feel like a stage. I got the same feeling with Metal Gear Solid.
Hmm.
That felt like a real base. So it was like uh, created for the game. You always kind of like, I mean, back in the days, of course, this is like Sonic, of course. It's designed that way for maximum entertainment. But in Shenmue, there are areas that you don't even need to go,
Exactly,
right? You
exactly.
know,
Yeah, you
but
don't.
they,
And there was always like this. Is there something here? Maybe let me explore.
yeah,
There
yeah,
was
exactly.
nothing. You
The
could just,
exploration was a big part. Like,
yeah, but you wouldn't really find anything, but you could go there anyway if you wanted
yeah,
to, and just
yeah.
that's
Now I
that the
feel
amount of
like
detail.
in games like open world, for example, Red Dead Redemption 2 or
Hmm.
Cyberpunk, which I both loved. I really loved both of them. But you kind of feel like they do on purpose to have a mission to go to that place so you discover it,
Yeah,
which is fine. But at the same time, like, okay, but
which I
it feels,
think is understandable because
yeah, of course, they want people to experience.
I think I'm not sure if I and I'm a huge fan of Shenmue.
Yeah,
Always saying this, people know this, but I I am not sure if Shenmue was released today and I was the age that I am now, I would enjoy Shenmue as
I
much
tell
as
you
I would
why.
back in the day because things have changed. I don't have as much time as I did back then.
Yeah, no,
I'm not as young, and so our attention span, I think, is a little shorter as well. So that's why there has to be a lot of hand holding in modern games,
so
and
yeah, I actually have been studying Shenmue. Probably you can guess why eventually. I don't want to reveal too much. But yeah, I've been spent a few months deep into
mhm,
everything about Shenmue, especially the location and everything. Uh, and I really believe a game like Shenmue now would have need the same quality of graphics that had back in the days when it came out, which means the most photorealistic, which is something like you can achieve much easier in Unreal Engine 5 for a few reasons. One, the graphics itself, the engine is able to create this global illumination in real time. You can have assets with millions and billions of polygons without problems, so that makes it easier. Plus, you can find pretty much every single model you need already done with high quality. You can either download or buy, so you don't have to create everything from scratch. I mean, even like motion capture. I don't know if you watched the latest Unreal Engine 5 demo. In
no,
1 minute, they had this actress. Uh, she's from Senwa game. This actress doing like a recording with an iPhone, simple iPhone, recording this capture in less than a minute. They were able to take that the recording, which also created a 3D scan of the face and applied to a digital double, which was pretty photorealistic. One was her, like the
yeah,
same, and then they reapplied the same animation to other characters in real time. Because once you
okay,
have the recording, okay, these are the eyes, these are the mouth. It's really like, okay, now I use
hmm,
the same few seconds of her saying the line. So something that even just a year ago was really expensive to do it well. Now it's really like you need an iPhone, an iPad
yeah,
with
hmm,
a lidar camera, and that's it. So it's extremely affordable for everyone, let alone like an indie game. So
yeah.
let's say to remake Shenmue, let's call it Shenmue Kiwami, it's not as crazy, and I honestly believe it's doable in the right hands. Let's put it
Okay.
that way. Let's see how
Okay. I
if it's
like the
true
sound
or
of that.
let's say. I mean, I might be naive. I might be hitting the Dunning Kruger the top, but I have some experience now with overjump.
Mhm.
I haven't shown the latest. I mean, I showed some screenshots lately, and the engine is getting better. I'm learning.
Okay.
All the tools are getting easier to use. AI is going to be a huge help for
Mhm.
game development.
So
So yeah,
let's just back it up a little bit. So you this is the best segue into overjump. So
yes,
let's talk about that. So how did the idea come up for overjump rally?
yeah. So I
And what
need
is it,
to
by the way? First of
yeah,
all.
I need to take another tangent to be honest
Okay.
because this is really important. Why I decide to go this way.
Mhm.
So it was 2005, 2006. I was in college. I was still playing here and there, but after this Dreamcast sudden death,
Mhm.
I was kind of bummed. I was honestly, I realized I was using more online forums than playing games. Like I was going to video game forums and talk about video games, but playing less and less. I got an Xbox. I mean, at that point, I had also a PlayStation. I even got a GameCube for Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
Second-hand GameCube. Everybody's talking about Resident Evil. It was worth it, honestly. I think it was amazing. I haven't played the remake yet,
The
but
remake?
I will. Honestly, I will.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it was like starting. I was studying industrial design, and I remember browsing one of these forums about video games. I found this topic about this project called Metal Gear Solid Philanthropy, and the idea was to make a fan movie about Metal Gear Solid. And they
Mhm.
already shot some stuff, really amateur at that time, but still, like, oh my god, this is amazing! It's so cool. Like, I love Metal Gear Solid. I spent so many hours. I actually one that became one of my favorite titles, which felt a bit, you know, not say moving to PlayStation, but also getting a PlayStation because I
Like
was such a
betraying
yeah.
Sega.
But
Yeah, I
this
felt
friend of
that.
ours, yeah, during the summer, he first had a Super NES, and then the summer after had this PlayStation. I said, "Oh, guys, you
Mhm.
have to check this Metal Gear Solid." And honestly, like, we can be fanboys as much as we want, but this game is legit. Like, we played that one and Gran Turismo.
Mhm.
Though, yeah, honestly, we were spending more time at his place. He was coming over and play our
At
games
that
too.
time, there was like those console wars
Yeah,
mentality, but
which is
it's
wrong.
just
Honestly, I
eh,
admit it, and
I yeah, but at the time it was understandable. But now
yeah,
I think
that's something like
people should understand it's all games should be experienced,
yeah.
and
Honestly,
all
it's like
consoles are valid. So in PCs and whatnot, so all platforms. So
yeah,
just enjoy games.
exactly. It's like a movie fan, a movie buff would not watch something that's made from a specific publisher.
Hmm.
That makes no sense. Like, as a movie, you watch every kind of movie. So as a gamer,
Yeah.
you should play any kind of game. Honestly, now if you are a fanboy of a way, just say I can't afford to play other. I have to own a second console, and therefore this one I picked has to be the best one, or I feel like a fool. So it's insecurity, no matter what.
Yeah.
Again, never got into Nintendo stuff, but I'm sure they are fun. I played Donkey Kong. Those were
Hmm.
fun, like Donkey Kong 2 and 3. I admit, I play also GoldenEye at a friend's place,
Hmm.
Nintendo 64, some Mario Kart. So yeah, it's like, okay, those are great IPs. I never played a Zelda game, and
You
I
should.
should start
You
eventually.
should.
Yeah,
You
I'm
should.
sure they are
Yeah.
fun. So, but at the same time, there are
I
so
got into
many.
them later because as you said, we felt like, no, we're
Yeah, the
Sega
betray. Yeah, it's
Sega fanboys, so we're betraying Sega.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so yeah, but after the Dreamcast died, I eventually moved on to other platforms, and yeah, that's why I say don't hate on a specific platform or publisher or whatever. Just try the
Yeah, you
games. If you
can
like
not
them,
like.
that's nice. If
Yeah,
not, it's okay.
maybe there is a specific game you don't like, but hey,
Yeah,
it's happening
that's
with
valid.
everything. Like
That's valid. It's not for
it's
everyone.
taste. It's like music. You don't like a
Exactly.
specific genre, you like another one, but
Yeah.
overall, you try a bit.
Hmm.
So anyway, this project, a fan movie, I eventually became part of the team, and we end up. I lived for 2 years. Basically, the actress had like this apartment underneath hers. It's like, hey guys, if you want to stay. So we lived together for 2 years to finish this fan movie. It was 70 minutes, sci-fi with visual effects. Came out in 2007. No, actually, the first teaser we released in 2007, but the game, the movie came out 2009. So at the time, HD was not even really common. It was really expensive to have, but yet we were able to pull all these visual effects. I became a compositor and a VFX supervisor by learning to be on set and to do the all the effects, not all, but everything they needed. For example, muzzle flashes or taking a 3D render and composite into a live action footage. So I honestly dropped out of college and I became a VFX artist because of this project. And eventually I was able to move to LA to get a visa and then I get a green card because that became my profession. And I'm still doing VFX to these days, which eventually was a connection to Unreal Engine 5. So
That's
anyway,
amazing.
last thing about this project, like I live with these guys I'm still in touch with. We chat almost every day, have this multi chat. So amazing friends, amazing human experience. Again, living
Hmm.
together felt like a startup, and the movie went well, at least at the time. Like even uploading a movie on YouTube wasn't a thing. You were not allowed to upload more than 20 minutes in
Hmm.
length. So our problem was like, how can we distribute this? So torrent was we eventually used somebody gave us a server to use. Eventually, yeah, we put on Vimeo as well. So yeah, different times. But Kojima actually watched the movie, Hideo Kojima. He even showed to his whole team and said, I was in tears. He tweeted about it. He said, oh, I was in tears about how
Oh, really?
passionate this. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing.
Actually, yeah, we met Kojima. I met once when he was in Milan for um, advertise Metal Gear Solid 4.
Hmm.
And then Giacomo, the director who also plays Snake, met him again, and Kojima knew. So, oh, I know you.
Okay.
So he was asking us, "Hey, when the second part is coming?" Because it was planned to be
There
a
was,
trilogy.
yeah, as you were talking, I was just trying to Google
Yeah. So
really
we
quickly. There
actually,
was a part two planned, but then,
yeah, we were planning to do a Kickstarter, but
okay.
eventually Sony
Oh.
contacted us and said, guys, it looks too good. It feels professional. Yeah, honestly, it was.
Oh.
So people might be. So this is not. um, we suggest you to stop it. The most
Suggest.
amicable. Yeah, so basically,
Yeah.
it was just before all the meltdown with the Kojima and Konami. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on
Mhm.
retrospective, it was a good choice. There was too much going on.
Mhm.
It was also a Sony leak happening like a few months after. So yeah, that would have been like really troublesome. So eventually, we decided to don't even start the Kickstarter
Yeah.
campaign. We released like these other additional 10 minutes we shot with the better cameras and better visual effects,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's some really great quality, at least for indie production.
Yeah.
So the my friends in Italy, they continue. They basically create this company called Hive Division, and to these days they're still making visual effects. But I decided to leave Italy and to move to LA. So I start like working for YouTubers a lot, like big ones like Freddy W or Corridor Digital, um, Rocket Jump,
Mhm.
Mike Diva. So I was into the circle of the biggest YouTubers. So I remember I worked with Mr. Guitar Man. He was the first or one of the first to reach 1 million subscribers back then. So it was like serious numbers. I once I checked like a few years ago, and all the videos I worked on YouTube, they got com- more than 100 million views. And there is one where I steal a
Awesome.
car, like GTA started. That one alone, I got like 30 million views. So yeah, fun
Amazing.
times. And actually, they knew me because they were all fans of Metal Gear Solid Philanthropy, this fan movie I
Okay.
made. Yeah, Clinton Jones, Punisher. He's actually known now in the 3D community for making these contests where there is like a topic, like okay, now there's gonna be a car moving or is this elevator moving. So everybody makes like these a few seconds, and then he combines them together into like this long, like 4 hours long, because there are thousands of people applying to it, and then eventually the best ones they got like some gifts, and like the sponsors are giving them
Mm.
like gloves for motion tracking, or like a Wacom tablet, something that
Yeah.
as an artist you will
Hmm.
use. So yeah, he told us, oh my god, I watched your movie like every day for like a year. And it became like it was obsessed, because I don't want to brag, but when Philanthropy came out, it was by far the best indie production ever made, especially of this scope, because you can do like 5-10 minutes and focus, but we did 70 minutes
Yeah.
with all the kind of visual effects you can think of.
Hmm.
So that was for me a great experience. And when I started, like I wanted to learn Unreal Engine 5, I said, okay, what if I do the same, but I'm gonna pick an IP from Sega, because I know they are pretty open to collaboration.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sonic Mania didn't
Yeah.
wasn't commissioned. It started as a independent project. Eventually got greenlit. Streets of Rage 4, same. What else? There was a Panzer Dragoon VR.
Dragoon.
Yeah, they got like the
Yeah.
licensing. So it's okay. Well, even a solo dev with little to no experience, they were able to, if the product is good, to do something.
Hmm.
So while I was studying Unreal Engine 5, which was mind blowing, honestly, I was like, okay, this is the coolest thing ever, because I'm coming from a visual effects, so photography and cinematics. My work is mostly to recreate reality,
Hmm.
especially 3D. CG has to look real in order to be sold as a visual effects. And Unreal Engine was allowing me to do that in real time. So my background on photorealism, it was really useful, but at the same time, I realized, okay, I don't know how to model stuff. I'm not a 3D modeler. Animation, not really. I know that you can create the vegetation and natural landscapes pretty easily. So, what game doesn't have anything out of ordinary in terms of models? Has a lot
Okay.
of vegetation, and as a concept, it's pretty simple. Uh, it, it's a arcade racing game, so it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be sim racing. It doesn't need to be open world. It doesn't, like three cards that I found them immediately. Like, okay, let me buy these. Um, Four stages, which again, mostly natural. Yeah, Sega Rally was the perfect pick, and I still believe it. Like, as a first game, because again, I have no experience. I'm learning as
I
I
would
go.
not get. I would not have guessed that was like the origin story of the project. I was like,
Yeah,
"Wait,
no, it's,
there's
and
a like a
again,
big reason behind this. Yeah, it's easier.
yeah,
Yeah.
it like it was the perfect fit. Again, I had great memories with back in the days with my
Yeah.
brother, as I mentioned. So there
But
was
but
this.
now let me ask you. There's a part of this project that is I'm not sure. I'm not a developer. I
Hmm,
just guessing, but the visual part is important,
yeah,
but then you have to also have the correct kind of gameplay, right? So the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
controls, and so
So yeah,
are you is that something you're comfortable with? Is that something that
yeah.
you had
Honestly,
to learn, or
I spent, so basically Unreal Engine 5 comes with the Chaos vehicle, which is Chaos is their system of physics. So if you have rocks tumbling down, or you hit an object, it will bounce around. You just give, okay, this is this much weight, this much uh, friction when it hits something. Like, they have their own
Yeah.
math inside.
Hmm.
And a chaos vehicle is like, okay, you just put, these are the wheels, this is the car, and then you have access to all the different parts of a car, like some suspensions, to the curve for torque, or the gears, so the different ratios, and then you have uh, angular velocity. So there is a lot of stuff I had to learn because I have no idea. Again, I don't even own a car. So I had to Google. Okay, let me understand how is a drifting. It's done. There are
Okay.
some elements that. So basically, I've been studying real cards as much as I could.
Hmm.
Studying the original Sega Rally, and then I start like tweaking. So, okay, if I change this, how fast? Like, okay, I need torque to have this acceleration from the game. They go like 0 100 in 1 second. It's insane. So yeah, it was honestly trial and error. Like, I didn't have to do any coding at that point. It was just, okay, these are the value if I change this much, and I play.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been playing for thousands of laps. It's because then you play it, I have to play at least 2 or 3 laps to understand. Okay, you have to try to be consistent with your driving, which is already a challenge,
Hmm.
and then you kind of like feeling, okay, this is too much, and then many times the car would like 180, so it was getting really, really, really annoying. That was probably the least favorite part of the entire process. Just again, it's fine. I loved creating the environment.
Hmm.
But yeah, now I'm really, really happy with the results.
Hmm.
It's extremely close to the original. It's really fun. It's fast. It's actually faster than the original because I put the top speed to 243 kilometers per hour, which is the right top speed from those two cars. So I
Okay.
want to like, this is the real deal.
More realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can reach that top speed only 1 point if you go reverse. Because one other thing I want to add, like, it's not gonna be a mirror mode, but it's a reverse mode. So you drive the other way. So it's a completely different game because every
Yeah.
single turn you arrive at a different speed, and you started. So even the hairpin, it's easier because you arrive a bit slower because you arrive from a K10,
Hmm.
the red one after. And then at the end you got the going downhill super
So you
fast.
can reach the top speed then.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Okay.
the only point. So I
Yeah.
guess you're
Makes
gonna
sense.
be able to reach top speed also in the desert for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a long.
So, Overjump Rally, in a simple way, is a remake of the original Sega Rally Championship,
Yes,
right?
it's
So, and just your plan is just to include the original tracks at this point,
yes.
correct?
So yeah, the legally speaking, I call it a homage, and I
Yeah,
call
exactly. Of,
overjump
of course, of course.
because again, I want to be able. Worst case, I mean, if Sega says no and I'm not able to get like financing, for example,
Hmm.
Epic Games, the company behind Unreal
Unreal
Engine
Engine.
5,
Yeah.
they make so much money with Fortnite that they literally give money away for interesting projects. Like, no strings attached. It's called a mega grant.
Hmm.
So you can apply, which I'm going to apply in the next few days. I want to have a nice demo. Um, to show and say, hey, we're gonna ask some money. So if they say no and Sega says also no, I will just release this demo because the point of
Okay.
this demo for me is to learn.
Okay.
Plain and simple. Have fun, learn, and getting some visibility. Which
Okay.
was the same point of Metal Gear Solid Philanthropy. We never planned to sell it because it was an IP.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
with the Kickstarter, we were just making enough money to finish the project. We were not.
mhm.
It was still a non-profit. With Overjump, I technically I could do kind of like they did with what's that name? It was looks like virtual racing. Outshot racing.
Hot Shot, yeah.
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 So they basically, they had their own title. The style is clearly virtual racing, Sega inspired. but and they were
but
able to release
it's
it.
yeah, it's different. Obviously, you're doing this to learn,
Yeah,
but like secretly, there's that little
potentially.
spark of hope that Sega could
Yeah,
pick this up, and you could really
exactly.
work on this as like a an official capacity, right?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
a
yeah,
serious remaster of or remake of Sega Rally
yeah.
on Unreal Engine
If they
5.
wanna call it Sega Rally remake, I'm
Yeah,
down to drop Overjump. If they want to call it Sega Rally
would
Overjump,
you be able to, or would that be something interesting for you? Let's say they don't want to do that. They say no. They okay, thank you. That's this looks pretty good. But
again,
would you consider like working a little bit more on it, release it as your own thing, like with more assets and stuff?
again,
Or
depends if I get financing from
yeah,
I because I've got in touch with an evangelist from Epic Games, and he told me like we don't care if this is Sega or not. If you
hmm
can make a game, and again for them it's also a good way to show what Unreal Engine 5 could be used as a racing game. Because
exactly.
I push the limits. Going so fast, you need the graphics to hold up. I use their own physics engine for the vehicle. I use the vegetation. I use
hmm
Nanite, Lumen, all the tools. Honestly,
Yes,
they are. So for them, it's like a nice uh,
showcase of the capabilities
showcase.
of
Yeah.
the
So
engine. Yeah.
yeah. So that's why they told me like we don't care if Sega is on board or not.
hmm
And
hmm
again, I could release it as an overjump rally. Uh, but again, I have to check how is the response, how I feel like dedicating 2 more years
Yeah.
estimate to a project that, as much as I like it, I want to say there is a lot of heavy lifting done at this point in terms of gameplay, uh, the looks. That alone took me quite a while to have the same colors as the original, but yet it has to look realistic.
Better. Yeah.
Better, yeah. So we'll see. I'm open to complete it,
hmm
but I might be like, okay, no, if there is not enough interest by the fans, and that could be also a reason why Sega says no. If say, okay, it's not worth it for us. Like you see just a few. I don't know the
I don't know.
numbers
I
to compare
think
it.
I'm not sure either. It's hard to when you are in like these circles of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Sega
Fine.
community and the fans. It's hard to understand what is real, what the real demand is for something. But I think Sega Rally is still pretty popular
Oh yeah, I
amongst
mean the
Sega fans,
Saturn
and
version, yeah, sold like 1.2 million copies. Like
mm,
one every three Saturn owners had a
yeah,
copy, and without considering the arcade, which most people played on the arcade, Sega Rally 2. Rally is now more popular in the US, also thanks to Kevin Ken Block, which passed away a few months ago,
mm,
sadly. Famous for the Gymkhana videos, got millions of views, like viral videos. Uh, so yeah, I think it's a right moment. Plus the anniversary, 30 years anniversary is coming up 2025. I should be able to complete the game by then. Maybe even have the console versions. We'll see.
mhm,
Because honestly, again, the gameplay that took me months just to finance, and now I'm really happy. As you mentioned, the controls are key, and I spent a lot of time, even if
mhm,
it wasn't fun. Just because clearly it's a game, it has to be. But yeah, I'm really really happy. The version you had on the alpha demo, I honestly everything changed in terms of graphics, even the a lot of elements, photography. It was an older version of the engine. Now it gets
mhm,
better performance. Um, so yeah, overall, I'm really really happy. Even if I haven't posted much, I've been working on it.
yeah,
Even also I start to get gigs for as a uh, game developer. So honestly,
Okay.
my plan is already working.
Yeah, yeah, you're getting a
People
visibility,
notice.
right?
Yeah, I get messages on LinkedIn of people like with way more experience. Like, hey, I've been. I love your demo, and can you
And
do
that
one
that
for
that
me?
I think is another testament to the popularity of Sega Rally. I
Yeah.
think
Oh yeah, yeah.
as
A lot
well,
of
right?
people.
So
Yeah. Just me.
I've been following your project for a while now, but I've seen it mentioned by people in the industry or by like websites that cover games, etc. Because Sega Rally, I think, is still pretty popular and a
Yeah.
recognizable or brand from Sega. So I think
Yeah. It has the
there
name. How many
there's the
other?
potential, right?
Yeah.
There's the potential for something. I think.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't use like a virtual rally. Because virtual was going on
Mm-hmm.
at Sega in different departments. So it was
Mm-hmm.
virtual on, virtual cop, virtual
Yeah.
fighter. So there was M2, M3 titles. But honestly, actually, the project was even called M3 Project Rally. There is actually in the first stage in the arcade, if you go backwards around the hairpin, there is the name of the early stage project on
Oh,
a texture. Yeah, it's like a
nice.
um,
That's a nice
uh,
Easter egg there.
Easter egg. Yeah, I don't know how many people know about it. So yeah, I'm actually even in touch with Sasaki-san, the director of the original Sega Rally. He's actually really happy. That's what he told me about this
That's
project. So yeah,
amazing.
we'll,
That's
we'll
amazing.
see if I can do justice with the. Again, I feel like when Sega Rally came out, everything was so advanced in terms of graphics. It was probably the first 3D game. I think was the first 3D racing game where different um, terrain was giving you different like grips. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, so I want to do something like that at least in terms visually. Of
Yeah.
course, now we are so used to sim racing games, uh, but again, I don't want to go in that direction. I don't know about racing games like simulation. I don't care, to be honest.
And I don't think that's the purpose. The
Yeah.
audience, the original audience, the people who love Sega
Oh
Rally
yeah, yeah, yeah.
wouldn't go for that. I think, right? So it's
Exactly.
an
Yeah.
arcade racer,
Exactly.
not
And
really a
nowadays,
simulation.
arcade games, they are all like for mobile phone or like those
Hmm.
stylized graphics. But for me, I grew up where the games at the arcade they had the best graphics ever.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
couldn't find it on any
of
PC on
course,
any
yes.
console. So for me, it's like okay, an arcade game has to have the best graphics. Period. You're not gonna convince me otherwise. So that's something like some people told me, oh, why you didn't go with more stylized like the original? So I do no, 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 no. The original Sega Rally wasn't stylized. It was as realistic as you could back in the days.
Yeah.
They had a specific style in terms of color grading and the various assets, which I was able to match really closely,
Hmm.
especially in the latest version.
Hmm.
Uh, so the sky has that hue, the green is just slightly desaturated, the cards are really popping, which creates like this nice contrast, especially during the replay. You see like these wild environments, and then there's like this alien machine, white, red, blue, or green, if it's the Celica or the Stratos. They're really like popping into and like going around. So kind of like I really love
The
this
contrast.
the contrast. Yes, it's almost surreal, and
Hmm.
so I took really a lot of time. Like I spent weeks, even like to these days. Like the other day, like a week ago, I was like, okay, this is the lighting. This is it. I'm not gonna change it. And then after like a week, okay, I change almost everything. I'm such a like, but at the same time, once you nail it, then you can reuse the same style to the other tracks.
Hmm.
You understand. Plus, I'm learning. So yes, it took me almost like a year and a half to make a one track, but I'm confident I can finish the other three pretty fast. Plus,
Okay.
I found most of the assets, if not all of the assets, I'm gonna need to to populate those environments.
Hmm.
Actually looking forward to create the mountain because there's like these small villages.
Hmm.
It takes place in Corsica. So I'm gonna
Okay.
use a lot of 3D scans of real buildings I found
From
from
back home.
yeah, from Europe, basically Italy, Spain, Portugal also, and
Nice.
uh, Corsica's got like
Yeah, it's
influence from
like the
everything.
Mediterranean
Yeah.
vibe,
So
right? Yeah.
it's okay if I can combine them. Plus,
Hmm.
there is like these other small villages in the middle. They are like more medieval. Uh, I really love the style.
Hmm. Hmm.
And as you see the sea and the castle in the background, oh my god, yeah, it's gonna look so cool. And
Excellent.
these like vertical cliffs you just drive next to. Yeah, honestly, I'm looking forward to.
Sounds awesome already.
Yeah, no, it looks great in my mind. Usually,
Yeah.
that's the first step. Lakeside
Hmm.
too. Imagine like a sunset. Plus, of course, for the I'm gonna do like the basic stages as we remembered them. But then I can change a lot of things. For example, I can have people picking the time of the day, so you can do like
Yeah. Hmm.
night driving, sunset, sunrise, afternoon. But also, I can add
Weather,
rain,
maybe.
weather,
Yeah.
absolutely, snow, or
Hmm.
both in like in the except for the desert, of course. But I can put like a sandstorm in the desert,
Yeah. Oh,
so it's
there we go.
visibility
There we
close
go.
to zero, and
Yeah.
plus again you can have a reverse mode, so the
Hmm.
tracks are like double. So at the end you can have, yes, four tracks, but then you have like, and again, if it rains, the asphalt is wet, so you really need to arrive at different speed in order
It's a
to
completely
okay,
different track
yeah,
in the way that you approach it and you drive, right?
yeah.
So
So
yeah.
again, its simplicity is so great because you're gonna recognize those tracks, especially if you play like the, I'm gonna call it like the classic mode, where okay, that's the desert, sunny, and the sunset for the left side. But then they're gonna say, okay, maybe you can randomly pick time of the day. So at night, you
Hmm.
drive with just the headlights. Um, so yeah, I really think at
That's
the end,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
four tracks, but then you have double it, so eight, and then for each weather, even snow would be fun. Like instead of having a snowy like in Sega
In Say
Rally
Rally 2.
2,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna just have a forest with the snow. Already, the assets I bought, the trees, there is the version with the snow on top.
Okay.
Yeah, but so honestly, to make this snowy, I found like some nice meshes with the snow on the edge, so kind of like they clear the view. So honestly, like adding snow it would take me like maybe 1 or 2 weeks of work on top. Rainy it's even easier. You just change some shaders, so it's like nice and it looks wet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's uh, I can see the
All the
potential to expand
possibilities,
it.
all the
Yeah.
potential. Yes, yes.
So and it's again done in a pretty easy way. While
Hmm.
at the
Hmm.
time, if you had to redo we would have to remake the entire track, with the
Exactly.
snow.
Exactly.
Or another thing, I think you can expand on it. If let's say Sega say, okay, this is gonna be Sega Rally over Jump, let's release it, and eventually say, oh, people bought it. Okay, let's have DLCs with more tracks and more cars from the Sega Rally 2. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
so we just keep the same gameplay, the same mentality, but you just expand on it. So I can see it being like
Yeah. You
something
have
that,
like the basic structure, and
yeah,
then you
yeah,
can just expand on it, just using the
yeah,
same
yeah, yeah.
basic building blocks of for
Yeah.
all tracks. Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, there are some areas I'm been adding which are inside the track, but you go around on foot.
Okay.
Uh, that's something I'm really happy. Uh, I call it the hub. Basically, you are experiencing the Sega Rally Championship as a spectator.
Okay.
So it can be used on various points. Basically, you can use it as a hub for online. If you're waiting for somebody, you're gonna see the avatar of other people. So imagine kind of like a metaverse. I don't really like this concept, but the idea is like you just POV walking around. You can go and see the pit where they are like fixing the car, like
Hmm.
so you can select the car by just going next to the car you want to drive. So okay, I
Okay,
pick this
nice.
car. Or there is like a media booth where you can watch your replays. There is a DJ booth where you
Could
can
choose
change the song,
tracks. Yeah.
to the tracks. There is like the race director, so you can
Hmm.
check your times, your tracks, your records.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and plus there is I kind of like teased a bit, but yeah, there's gonna be a visitor center because the track takes place in Yosemite, here in California. Is this national park?
Yeah.
I don't know if people are familiar, but it's known for giant sequoias.
Sequoias. Yes.
The biggest sequoia in the world, the biggest tree in the world is here. It's the General Sherman, and actually I matched the size you see on the beginning on the right. It's this huge tree. So the idea is like, okay, this takes place in California and in '95 because that's so all the elements had to find to populate this area are from '95. So
Okay.
honestly, when I said I'm going to recreate the entire experience of Sega Rally, I meant the entire experience, which means
Oh.
you are there walking around visitor center and there is an arcade. And guess who's going to be in the arcade?
Okay. I see. I see.
So yeah, I haven't showed that part yet, but yeah, the idea. Oh, there's gonna be also a booth with the Saturn, Sega Saturn there.
Okay.
So you can also go there and maybe play the original Sega Rally. Which maybe I found a way to emulate Saturn games inside Unreal Engine 5. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
Lots of
want to.
ideas.
Yeah, no, it's gonna happen. So that's my proof of
Okay.
concept. It's not just okay. Let's remake the game because again, since it's a hub and it's gonna be connected online, you're gonna be able to see other people racing.
Hmm.
So imagine maybe a Twitch streamer or YouTube streamer, maybe popular, gonna try the game, and the audience is not gonna be just beyond the chat. They're gonna be virtually there, see like the best laps or whatnot. I can see the potential of creating
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
that's more high level. That's not just being inside the car and driving.
Okay.
I feel like it's gonna give you a better overall experience of you being a driver. That's not just you start the game already inside the car. It could be again meet and greet, just hanging out with the friends, playing the original games. There is even
So
a capsule.
bring the original concept to modern
Yeah,
days,
it's more
right?
honestly,
So,
it's more a tribute to Shenmue because I even put a capsule,
oh,
toy
capsule
capsule.
toys.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And again, the arcade is the same concept. You go in the arcade and you can play inside the game. So yeah,
Nice.
that's more. There is even like a hot dog stand called the Tom's Hot Dogs.
Oh, nice.
I already posted pictures of that. Yeah, that's a clear match. There isn't like a red radio. Oh, there's the same model as in the Shenmue game.
That's amazing.
So yeah, let's see. I have other ideas how to give homage to Shenmue inside a Sega Rally game.
Excellent.
So yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it's been
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
my plan is pretty ambitious, but at the same time, I think it's doable.
Doable. Yeah.
Because again, I want to, and let's say I have other plans for other games to remake,
Hmm.
other arcade games. So this one could be the first step. I honestly, even if the game sells well and sales like okay, we need to do DLCs, I would probably move away and go on another genre. For example,
Hmm.
I would love to remake Virtua Cop.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I can see that working both in VR and now we have light guns that work on on LCD screens and TVs and projectors too. Back in the days, our TVs were smaller, So if you wanted to go have the good experience, you had to go to an arcade. But now our TVs are bigger than the
Yeah,
arcades,
yeah,
so I can
exactly.
see, honestly, I can see light games having a comeback. Hopefully,
Hmm.
even for console, I hope maybe Sony will make a light gun, you know,
Yeah,
or
I don't know.
alternatively,
I think they're all in on the VR thing,
yeah,
which
again, alternatively,
so
I can make
maybe
a
maybe
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, Alessandro,
yes,
you've heard the podcast, so we have
yeah,
something to take care
game
of.
game time, yeah.
We have something to take care of.
I forgot about it. Okay,
That's the idea. Usually, I let you, just
yeah, yeah, too.
talk and talk, and you forget, and then when it's time to strike,
Okay, yeah,
it's time for the Sega
that's
Lounge
embarrass
Challenge.
myself. Yes,
I'm not sure you will, because I think you're a really knowledgeable fan of Sega. So
Now that you know our guests, it's time to put them to the test. It's the moment we've waited for and the moment they dread.
Welcome to your doom.
I mean, welcome to the Sega Lounge Challenge.
I wasn't sure what to do, but as the conversation went on, it's obvious we have to do the Ultimate Sega Fan Challenge with you, which,
please.
it's 10 rounds, music and questions, and you get
Okay,
to pick between easy and hard questions, right?
okay,
So, and the goal is always the same, 10 points. Okay,
okay.
that's only 10 points. So it's doable. It's much easier than
So,
to remake Sega Rally on
well,
on Unreal Engine 5. I'm sure.
we'll see about that.
So, round 1, question.
Yes,
Easy or hard?
let's start with the hard one.
With the hard one. That I
Yeah.
like that
So
mentality.
yes,
Okay. And because you're a big Shenmue fan,
yes.
let's start with the Shenmue question. I'm not really sure
Okay.
if it's a hard question, but let's see. So, in the original Shenmue,
Hmm.
how much money did Ine-san leave out for Rio each day?
Okay. I believe it's so the arcade games are like 100 yen.
Everything
Uh,
is apart from the food.
I think it's 1,200 per day.
1,200 yen.
Is correct?
I'm just repeating your answer. I don't know. Is that your final answer? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, it's yeah, or
Could be. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just,
no, I think it's 2,000. Yeah,
final answer.
final answer.
2,000 yen.
Yeah.
Your answer is incorrect, actually.
Okay.
It's
How
incorrect.
much?
Yes, it's
How
incorrect.
much is it?
500. It's only
Just
500 yen.
500.
Yeah, just 500. Simpler times. Simpler times. 1986 in Japan.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, if it's a quarter of dollars, 100 yen, at least give the
It's only enough for 5 arcade games or like 5 capsule toys
yeah. I
and
mean,
no
even
food.
just feeding the cat is like 120
Exactly.
or 200 so if you get the fish, which
Yeah.
cat likes. Yeah.
Round 2 is a
Okay.
song, right? So that's how we
Okay.
do it here. So to make it a little bit more, I wouldn't say easier, but more on theme, right?
Okay.
All songs are Sega Rally songs.
Okay.
Okay. But it's still a challenge because you need to tell me game and if you
Okay.
can, where it plays, which
That's,
track. Okay.
that's
There are a few Sega Rally games. So we'll start with it's a 10-second long clip. Okay,
okay.
ready?
Right.
So we're starting with a pretty easy
So
one, I
yeah,
think.
so this is a Sega Rally 1 Desert, and the title It's Condition Reflex. It was written by Takenobu Mitsuyoshi. I actually one of the track from Overjump. It's written and sung by Johnny
Johnny
Joeli,
Giueli. Yeah.
who is the second half of Crush 40, best known for Sonic Adventure themes and Sonic
Yes.
Heroes.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so, yeah,
Excellent.
that for me, working with him, that was extremely amazing, honestly, because I grew up listening to Sonic Adventure 2
Hmm.
tracks over and over. I remember I got the 10-year anniversary Sonic Adventure 2. So they
Hmm.
had an extra a CD disc with the tracks,
Yeah.
and yeah, that for me like. So when he agrees, yeah, let's do this, and yeah, such a nice guy to work with, and I haven't.
Did you reach out yourself, or how did it happen?
Oh yeah, I reached to him. Yeah, I reached to him, and he replied immediately. It's like, oh yeah, sounds cool. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
let's
a
do
great
it.
guy.
Yeah.
I've
So
interviewed
yeah,
him twice. At this point, always a great guy. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
pretty
yeah,
great.
the machine is a song he wrote uh, from scratch. I gave him like a list of topics. I told him, okay, she's gonna sound like Sega Rally songs, but you also like live and learn, and
Hmm.
I don't mind hard rock because that's what he does mostly. And I couldn't be happier, honestly. You hear the original, like the version without the lyrics in the video and in the
Okay,
older demo, but then I'm gonna reveal like the trailer reveal is gonna have his voice because a lot of people have been asking me,
it's
"Oh,
it's a
where
great
can I?"
song. It's a great track. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yes, the correct those were the correct answers. Sega Rally 1 point. Desert Conditioned Reflex 2 points.
yeah.
It's good. This
So
was
Yoshi,
easy.
but the remade, sorry, it was made by Ataya,
Okay.
uh, which is the one who also did all the replay music for the Saturn, and also
Mm-hmm.
improved the arcade version.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Excellent. Okay, so round 3, easy or hard question?
let's go an easy one. Just
Easy one.
alternate.
Okay. Are you familiar with Virtua Fighter?
Yeah, I played
Excellent.
the second one the most.
Okay. This is a classic question. In Virtua Fighter 3 TB, right?
Okay,
Virtua Fighter 3 TB. What does the TB in the title stand for?
it's a team battle. Yeah,
Are you sure?
because yeah, it was the moment in fighting games where you had a buddy coming up and alternate with you in
Hmm.
the fighting. So yeah, team battle.
So final answer, Team Battle.
Yes,
Virtua
final
Fighter
answer.
3 Team Battle.
Yeah, pretty. Unless
Okay.
my memory is so bad. But yeah,
Not like Tournament Brawl.
no, pretty, pretty
which
common. I haven't
which was
heard,
which was the,
but yeah,
the the first thing that came to my mind right now. So yes, of course, yes.
yeah,
One
very easy one.
point. Okay. Second song.
Okay,
Ready? Yeah?
ready?
Okay, let's give it a listen.
Okay, so
Mm,
I don't recognize this song, so it's likely from either Sega Rally 2006 or Revo. Uh, I go with Revo.
okay. And if you don't recognize the track, you don't know where it plays in the game. Then
No, maybe I give
would you like to just try to guess
wait
which track?
the Safari, the desert track track. Because I play Sega Rally 3. Actually, I
Okay.
really like. I honestly I prefer it over Sega Rally 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless it's the tropical in Sega Rally 3,
Mm.
which is the first stage. But no, let's go with because Revo has more tracks than Sega Rally 3. So
Mm-hmm. So you're going with
maybe it's the Alpine in Okay, let's
you,
try Alpine
you've said
Sega Rally 3.
you've said
Okay,
like three
that's
or four different things. So
yeah,
final answer.
that's my brain.
Final answer. The game is
Sega Rally 3
Sega Rally 3
Alpine
or Revo. Okay. Alpine.
Alpine track.
Okay. So that's locked in. So no changing.
Yes. Okay.
The game is, and I'll give you the point, Sega Rally Revo. Yeah. Okay, which is, Sega Rally 3 in a way.
Yeah.
Is the track one of the Alpine tracks, of which there are two, I think?
Yeah, there were multiple.
It is not. No.
I
It was
think
Tropical 1. Tropical
Okay.
1. You said at
Which
some
I
point
mentioned,
Tropical.
yeah.
Yes, you said it, but then
It
you changed.
felt, yeah, there was something in my memory getting.
But good job, 1 point. So at this point,
Okay.
you have 4 out of the 10 that we want. So,
Okay.
and with 6 rounds to go. So number 5 is another question. Easy or hard, Alessandro?
Let's go hard.
Hard.
Harder should give you 2 points.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
As long as you get it right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see a hard question for you. Let's go with this one. Alex Kidd
Mhm.
makes a cameo appearance in the Japanese exclusive Dreamcast game Sega Gaga. Ever heard of this game?
Yeah,
Sega
yeah.
Gaga? Yeah.
Sega Gaga.
Okay,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
during the downfall of the Dreamcast, and basically it was a managerial game, and it was taking
Yeah, it's like
laughing at themselves.
an RPG, but with yeah. So Alex Kidd appears. What is Alex's job in the game?
Oh wow, that's a really hard one. I mean, Alex
As you
Kidd is
said, they
known
were making fun of themselves in a way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So Alex Kidd appears as Alex Kidd, but what's his job?
Ooh. I mean, he's known to break rocks. The punch. Actually, Alex Kidd was probably the first Sega game I played. Plus, my name is Alex, so
Yeah.
Alessandro. So
Yes.
I had a connection there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So channel that connection.
maybe a carpenter, since it's breaking stuff by also fixing them, or like a man. What's called the one that make construction.
Construction worker.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see him pushing mails like the shopping cart. But at the same time, if he was working at Sega, it would be
That's the idea here. So he used to work for Sega, but then something happened. So
making. Oh, let's say a random thing. Maybe it's making sushi. So it's like a sushi chef. That's
sushi chef.
my final.
Your final answer
Maybe I've seen some screenshots at some point.
could be sushi chef is your final answer.
Yeah, that's really random. But
So the idea is he used to work for Sega. He was like the company's hero, the mascot.
It was
But
a
then,
mascot. Yeah.
then along came Sonic and ruined everything. So he is now a video game store clerk. So he works in a video game store, and like there's a moment in the game where he's telling his tale of how Sonic came along and stole his thunder, and so sad. Okay, round number 6 is another song. Ready? Let's go.
It sounded a bit like Searching for My Dreams, Sega Rally 2. Yeah, it sounds like. The thing is, I listen more of the remastered version of the soundtrack, It's called Another Entries.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have something different, but the style is really Sega Rally too. It's really
Mm.
chill. I don't think it's Searching for My Dreams, but it could be another track.
Could also be that.
Or Sega Rally 2006.
Could also be that.
Yeah, I think I go Sega Rally 2006.
Out of the options that you mentioned, which one is your final one? Your final answer?
2006. Sega Rally 2006.
You were mentioning this, right?
Later.
This is the
Searching for My Dreams.
another entries version of the Searching
Is-
for My Dreams. Yeah, but this is not. We only have tracks from games, so not
Okay.
this one. So your answer is all that said,
Sega Rally 2006. Try. Yeah.
and track would be or would play.
I don't know, maybe the remake of the Lakeside.
Okay, can I lock it in?
Yes. Let's go.
Should I?
Yeah, please.
No. It was Searching for My Dreams from Sega Rally 2. Oh. You had it all.
I keep getting it right and then giving the
Yeah,
wrong
it
answer.
was that. It was that. Exactly. It was that exact track.
Again, I've been listening too many times.
Don't question yourself. Just go with your first answer. Although sometimes, yeah. But okay. So no worries, no worries. Still time for those 10 points. So you have a 3, 4, 4. So we have 4 rounds left. Let's see. Question 7, easy or hard?
Let's do an easy one. I need to
Let's do an easy one to
get
build
it
up
right.
confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What name is given to the combination of a Mega Drive, a Mega CD, a 32X, and usually a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge with another Sonic game attached to it? All of these things together, they call it something.
It's called the Tower of Power. Pretty confident I heard that name. Yeah, it's the Tower of Power. It's
You sound pretty confident, but are
yeah.
you sure?
I don't remember anything.
So final answer.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to.
Don't overthink it, right?
Yeah, like how many times I've been saying yes.
Yes.
See, I learned my lesson.
Don't
First thing.
overthink it. The Sega Tower of Power. Very good. Okay. Last song. Last song. Let's do it. Let's see if you can tell me which game and track this is.
So, okay, this is Soul on Desert, Sega Rally 2, Jun Seno. This is the original version. I much prefer the remade version. I think, yeah, this is. Oh, yeah.
Think about it. Think about it. I'm just gonna give you ask you a question. Does this sound like an arcade song track? My only question.
Well, if it's from Sega Rally.
I only asked a question, not giving hints, not saying anything else.
Oh, yeah, it's Soul on Desert. Again, I'm used to the other version.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the one from Jun Seno. So, yeah. Again, I try not to
overthink
myself.
it.
Yes.
So your final answer is Sega Rally 2 arcade version, Soul on Desert.
Yeah, it might not be the arcade version. It could be the Dreamcast version. But I don't remember they changed the music for that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they changed because they added more tracks, but I know there's Solon Desert.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to lock it in, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm not sure what to do here. I think it's fair to give you a point for Solon Desert.
Okay.
1 point. Although, it's not Sega Rally 2. It's actually Sega Rally Championship on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh.
So, the arcade tracks sounded much better than this.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I was.
That's why
Because
I was asking, are
I
you
don't
sure this
know.
is an arcade song? So yeah, see
Again, because I'm so used to the another entries, which I was like, okay, well, maybe that's the original. I remember checking Sega Rally 2. I've watched many videos of the.
Mhm.
It's like, oh,
Yeah, but
maybe
yeah, it
at
is
least
Solon
it's the
Desert.
song is.
It's unmistakable. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6 points so far with only 2 questions to go. If we want to get 10 points, you have to
Yeah,
choose a hard question next.
Yeah, let's go
Although,
with that.
even if you don't get the 10 points, just for fun. So
Let's
question
try a
question
harder.
9, hard or easy? Hard?
Hard, yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a hard Shenmue question.
Okay.
Okay. So in Shenmue 2, what morning task does Ryo have to perform every day at Manmo Temple?
Okay, this is easy. You have to carry the old books outside so they get haired and they don't get demolded, and then carrying them back. So yeah, that's your. In order to sleep at the uh, Master Utah apartment, yeah, that's your morning routine. Taking the books, have the QTE so you don't drop them, and then so they get hair, and then you bring them back.
You sound pretty confident,
Yeah,
but are you
that's my
sure?
yes.
I'm
Played,
obligated to ask, are you really sure?
yes, really sure.
Yes. 2 points.
Yeah,
2
it was
points.
an easy one.
Not
I
for
love that area.
everyone. Not for everyone.
I love the area where also you
Yeah.
catch the leaves.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah, that
Yeah, I
the
would like
Scarlet
to even
Hills
even just to
area.
remake that area. I was actually the other day was searching what kind of trees they have
Mhm.
these red
Yeah, leaves.
leaves,
Mhm.
and I was looking if there are like 3D models, and sometimes because I mean, in worst case, I could just remake some areas of Shenmue just for fun, for portfolio reasons. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So, round 10, final question. It's always hard, so there's no choice here. So,
Okay,
I will ask
so
you.
I might get. So I have 8 points, so I might get 10 points.
It depends on your last answer, your answer to the last question.
Okay.
So, for 10 points, possibly, Alessandro Schiassi.
Yes.
In the promotional material, for which game did Sega claim that RPG has changed? So in the promotional material, they say RPG has changed.
Okay, so
Think about all the amazing Sega RPGs.
I have 2 picks. One is Shenmue because they invented the free full reactive eye entertainment. The other one it could be Panzer Dragoon Saga because they had new innovative elements such as the rotating around the enemies while the bars were loading for using either laser gun or berserk or an item. But I will go with the Shenmue because one, I don't remember they did much advertising on Panzer Dragoon Saga, sadly. Which, by the way, that would be my ultimate project to work
Project.
on to
Yeah.
remake. Shout out to Edsel Resurrection. They have a Patreon, and they are basically remaking. They actually gave me the idea of creating a game on Unreal Engine 5.
Okay.
So yeah, it adds a resurrection
Hmm.
to. They're doing great stuff. But so yeah, I go with the Shenmue once again. Try to lock in the first. Maybe again, it could be a trick since all the other questions were about Shenmue. So I
You
don't
never know
remember.
with the Sega Launch Challenge, really.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Sega they released a lot of RPGs back in the days, Saturn especially. Um,
Hmm.
Grandia 2. Were they?
Those
Or
are not
Skies of.
from Sega,
Oh,
but Skies of
yeah, yeah,
Arcadia.
yeah. They were. It could have been also Skies of Arcadia.
Have you played Valkyria Chronicles?
I have not.
So
I
that's
haven't.
post Dreamcast. So your answer is
I go with the Shenmue. I mean, worst case, if they didn't say that, they should have because that's the truth, and
yeah.
I don't want it to be right.
And if you have no answer whatsoever, you have no idea, always go with Shenmue, right?
Yeah,
I think that's a good way to go. A
I
good way to
like to
live your
fail
life.
by saying that name at least.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the honorable thing to do.
Yes. See it.
So you're going with Shenmue.
Yeah.
RPG has changed, Sega said.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely correct because this was indeed a revolutionary game.
Okay.
Your answer is correct. Yes, 10 points.
10 points. How
Well
many of your
done.
guests are getting 10 points?
Oh, it's really hard. Some, but it's really hard to get 10 points. My ultimate goal is to have someone who gets 20 points, which is like all hard questions, all songs correct, 20 points. But
Okay.
that's never been done, I think. So
I
that's
wonder
really,
if-
really, really hard.
I think I said the right answer every time, almost.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should
You could
have-
have. This should have been much easier.
Yeah,
But
I only fail like the sushi, the Alex Kidd,
the sushi one was great. Sushi chef, yeah, that was.
and of course, yeah, and the money from Inesan, which come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
how greedy are you?
yeah.
No wonder I have to bust my ass on a forklift in order to get a ticket to China.
No wonder, yeah. So, Alessandro, before we go, thank you very much for doing
Yes,
the
of course.
challenge, which is always
pleasure.
a nerve wracking part of the show. Also,
It was
thank you
fun,
for.
honestly.
So, my only two questions left are: so, how can people? Obviously, people will find links in the show notes and description of the podcast for everything. But you are now releasing a beta demo, right? Of
Yeah,
Overcamp Rally?
so I'm gonna to release a private demo of
Okay.
the latest version in the next few days,
Uh-huh.
weeks, depends. I'm waiting for a new Unreal Engine 5.2 version to release, so it's gonna be a even better performance. So it's gonna be private, but you can just request on our Discord server. It's actually a Sega Rally server with the where I'm an admin. That they gave me
Okay.
the admin status, and then I post stuff about Overjump. So there's
Mhm.
gonna be like a private channel. I just ask. I'm not gonna. I just hope people are not gonna start like releasing it because like
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah.
It's
Respect the dev, please.
yeah, it's playable. The graphics are done. It's missing like sound effects and particle effects. So when you go on off road, you don't have the dust. So I still have to work on that. And it's missing the hub, which is
Okay.
something it's let's say 80% complete,
Mm.
90%, and plus I have to do like a selection of the car, the reverse or normal direction. Time attack, or just you just want to drive around.
Okay.
Those are gonna be the final for the final release. I'm gonna also send to Sega. I say, hey guys,
Mhm.
that's what I've done. That's a proof of concept. You don't. Honestly, I don't even care if Sega is not giving me any money. I can maybe they just allow me to do a Kickstarter, or some sort.
Mhm.
Like I mean, I'm not saying like Shenmue 3 because I'm not Yu Suzuki, not even a millionth of what the hero is, but a Kickstarter is a good way to see if there is interest
Interest,
overall.
yeah. Mhm.
It's a good
And I think
sign.
there is, yeah. I think so.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll
Again,
see.
I haven't. The alpha demo release was kind of rushed. It was for the
For
Sonic
Sage, right?
Sage. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, so this one I want to take a bit more time to find it, but I'm extremely proud of the visuals and the controls and the music, of course. That's Johnny's. Plus, I have another really great artist, Neo Te Aika. He's been doing some great and Fabri Sound. Otherwise, he gets mad if I don't mention him. So yeah, I overall I'm a solo dev, but at least the sound part, which I don't know nothing about, like music is not my forte. It's probably as you can tell from my answers. But yeah, it's really proud.
Mhm.
Regardless, uh, this is a success. Like as a
Yeah.
project, even if Sega shuts me down and sue me to death, it should probably
No, I
never
don't think
happen.
that. I don't think
But
that'll
yeah, no,
happen.
it's
But yeah, yeah, it's a success from our perspective as well as fans. I think
yeah, it's like
people are
I'm
really
happy.
enjoying the
Yeah,
result. Just watching the development of the game. It's
yeah. I felt
yeah.
like I needed to give back to Sega community, to
Hmm.
my friends at Sega fans. So Sega Rally is something like Overjump. Sorry, something like worst case they're gonna have a demo to play around,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
it could be a bittersweet because if it's nothing more than a demo, but who knows? I might just start something else, or
Yeah. Definitely.
again, somebody else could take inspiration to make something else. We'll see. Like it's never in a vacuum; it's always
Yeah.
there. So maybe like I got the inspiration from the Ads of Resurrection project. So someone else say, "Oh,
Hmm.
that's great. Let me learn." Honestly, game development in Unreal Engine 5, it's much more accessible than most people think. Even the coding part, it's all visual with the blueprint and nodes. So you just understand the basics of the logics. You don't need to have skills in modeling like they used to.
Hmm.
Again, you can find most of the assets as long as you're smart. If you start, "Oh, I want to make a open world game as a first game," you're likely gonna
Yeah.
fail. But again, arcade game, sure, especially if the dynamics, like, but you can pretty much do everything at this point.
Hmm.
Like it's a great game. It's a great moment to start making games than just playing them. Which honestly, it's even more fun. To be honest, I
Yeah.
spend most of my days just creating. It's a creating avenue.
So my last question is always the same, as you probably know, which is blast processing. If you could add blast processing to anything in the world, what would it be and why? So
Hmm.
blast processing is supposed to make things more powerful, faster, whatever. What would you do with blast processing?
Maybe the learning process. I really like listen to audiobooks like sometimes 2 times the speed, you know. But at the same time, some other topics I like to research and take my time to learn because I love learning, and yeah, maybe learning a language. That's yeah, let's say learning a language, which again you can still experience by just communicate, but at the same time you wish you were able to absorb more quickly. And I speak a lot of languages, so it's
Hmm.
something I've been even started like learning Japanese more recently by Italian, English, French, Spanish, understand a bit of Portuguese, and Sardo. My mother's from Sardinia. That's a
Okay.
different language. It's
Hmm.
closer to Spanish and Greek. So yeah,
Interesting. So
yes,
blast processing for learning languages.
yes, that's my final.
That's a great answer. I agree. I agree. That would be very useful. Imagine if you could, with blast processing, learn all the languages in the world in your
Yeah,
lifetime. That would
too.
be
Like
amazing. Okay, very good, Alessandro. So, thank you very much for coming on the show.
yes,
All
my
the
pleasure.
best
Thank you.
for Overjump Rally. We'll keep a close eye on the project,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hopefully you come back at some point to talk about Sega Rally Overjump or something like that.
Dude, yeah, I was
Fingers
listening to
crossed.
the your interview with the guys from Streets of Rage 4,
Yeah.
and so inspirational. Like, oh my god, because they did the same. Like, they grew up with the Sega games. And it's like, hey, maybe we should do again. This happened before. They had more experience than me, but at the same time, I feel like I got lucky by starting the moment I started. And I would understand if Sega says no, we are not interested in a rally game, especially with
Mhm.
our name on it, because and that's I wish it was virtual rally. That would have been more manageable. But
Yeah.
Sega is again. But if they won't say, okay, we give you the uh, just call it over jump rally, and people are gonna know.
Hopefully you can come back with more news in the future. Alessandro, thank you very much.
Thank you.
What a project. I hope you enjoyed my chat with Alessandro Schiassi, and feel free to check out Overjump Rally using the links in the show notes. Let's all hope Alessandro is successful in making his dream a reality, and we can all be playing Sega Rally Overjump in the near future. I don't care, I'm calling it that, Sega Rally Overjump. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Sega Lounge. I'm working through some personal and professional stuff at the moment, which might end up translating in taking 1 or 2 weeks off from the show. But be sure to keep your eye on our socials, since that's the place I'll post any updates to the current schedule of the lounge. Whatever happens, there's the entire back catalog of 180 episodes to listen to while I figure things out. Take care of yourselves and enjoy some Sega games, maybe even the Overjump Rally demo. I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye! The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Find them at opussciencecollective.bandcamp.com. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at The Sega Lounge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com and wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. A Mixed On Productions podcast.